Yeah, I'm sorry that this is such a late review. Like, the race ended, like, over an hour ago, but I'm not getting around to making a review for it until right now. Yeah, this is the All-Star Weekday review, I guess, at Bristol. Let's start out with the Open. I mean, I know I said that the number placement was probably going to be terrible, but some of the cars actually did it right, and I'm glad for that. But the racing itself didn't really go that well. Like, I mean, in the Open it went a little better. I mean, you could actually, like, drive. I guess. Like, and there was more action in it, at least. And, Bubba Wallace crashed out, so that ended my hopes of the Open being any good at all. Like, as soon as he wrecked. And also, McDowell was caught up in that, too, so that sucked as well. I mean, I wasn't expecting Clint Bowyer to win the fan vote. To be honest, I was expecting either... I was kind of expecting Christopher Bell to win the fan vote, to be honest. Either Christopher Bell or Bubba Wallace, but Bubba Wallace wouldn't have made it in anyway. Yeah. So, Clint Bowyer won the fan vote, which I'm perfectly fine with that. I actually like Bowyer. But when they got to the All-Star race, they got to see those lights under the cars, which I thought were pretty cool, to be honest. Like, some of the colors didn't make much sense, like Denny Hamlin had a red light when he probably should have had a blue light instead. I don't know. And that race was terrible. I mean, it wasn't that bad because Chase Elliott won, but the racing itself was just terrible. Like, I'm glad Chase Elliott won the All-Star race, but that race was freaking terrible. Like, why do you need to add PJ1 at Bristol? Like, the racing was perfectly fine, NASCAR, and then you had to add the stupid PJ1 to the track. Like, I swear, PJ1, like the traction compound thing, it's ruining races. I hate the traction compound stuff. Like, I hate the PJ1 so much. Because it means that there's only one dominant line on the track at all times. Like, it's not like you can go any line. Like, get rid of the traction compound. You don't need it at Bristol, so stop adding it. Watch, they're gonna add it at Daytona. They're gonna put PJ1 at Daytona. And they'll probably train the entire frickin' race. Because, the PJ1's gonna make the racing more competitive. Well, it does at some tracks, but at some other tracks, it just causes whoever goes up into the PJ1 to just spin out and hit the wall. Like, they have zero control of their car. Meaning there's only one line you can run throughout the entire race without your car getting extremely loose. I mean, at Bristol, that meant that only one line was dominant at a time, so everybody in one line got a good start while everyone else just frickin' blew it. Yeah. If it wasn't for that, if they actually, like, competed well, like, it's not even the package, they're using the short spoiler package. Or they used it for this race at least. But yeah, that race was so terrible. That race was so terrible. Like, the only thing that made it any better than a 1 out of 10 is because Chase Elliott won. That is the only reason. Everything else about the race sucked. Like, seriously. The spring race was just fine without PJ1. In fact, the spring race still stands as the best race of the season on my scale. Like, and there wasn't PJ1 there. Like, they didn't add the PJ1 until, like, earlier this month. And now what happens? All of the racing was terrible. You don't need to add it, I swear. They don't need to add PJ1 to every single track. It doesn't make the racing better. It literally does not make the racing better. Because there's only one good line that you can race on. Every other line is just slippery as hell. And just causes your car to hit the wall. I hate the PJ1. But NASCAR's just gonna keep adding it to I'm pretty sure they added it to Texas and Kansas as well. Like, they're adding it to almost every racetrack. They are going to do it at a super speedway at one point. So everybody can only run the bottom line. Like, watch them do it at Talladega. Like, so everybody has to run the bottom line in a frickin' train the entire frickin' race. Or they'll wreck. Like, that is not fun to watch. Like, nobody likes that. Like, nobody likes that. This is so stupid. Like, I was watching that race at the same time as watching a movie on TV. Like, I could have just been watching the movie, rather than spending half of the movie looking at my phone at this. Like, what was it? Like, it was almost a train at one point. Like, they just went around the track in a straight frickin' line at some points. Like, there were passes here and there. Like, but for a few laps at a time, they just went around in circles in a straight frickin' line. NASCAR, stop adding this stupid traction compound stuff to every track. Like, Bristol doesn't need the traction compound. Like, maybe tracks like Texas or Atlanta, maybe they'll need it. I don't think they put it down at Atlanta. So how come... Like, Atlanta probably would have made the race more competitive. Because it's one of those, like, intermediate tracks. But no, apparently that's too much to ask for. And we have to add it at Bristol instead. Bristol doesn't need this traction compound piece of garbage. It's perfect the way it is. Like, I hate this. I hate it so much. And also, some of the numbers did look pretty good on the track. Like, I remember seeing, like, I think it was, like, Austin Dillon's car. Yeah, it was Austin Dillon's car, and thinking, hey, that looks pretty cool with the number in that position. Because it did. But cars like Cole Custer's car was terrible with that number placement. Like, that number placement was absolutely horrendous. Like, all the Stewart-Haas cars had their numbers, like, slightly higher than everybody else, and I was just getting triggered by that. I don't know why they were doing that, but I don't know. I guess it worked well on Denny Hamlin. I didn't see Jimmy Johnson's car, so I don't know. And it worked well on Chase Elliott's car. It sort of worked well on Blaney. It sort of worked well on Keselowski. It didn't really work that well for Logano, to be honest. But yeah, that's my All-Star Race review that I spent half of it talking about the stupid traction compound. So, hope you have a good night.